touch. What touch? Oh, it's 11. Mm. Good. Life is a circle. It's one step leading to another, into another, and on till we find ourselves at the seemingly starting point. Life is like riding a bicycle. Some push, staggering moments, steadying times, pedaling, keeping the balance, uphill rides that require your strength and downhill rides that brings the wind rushing against your face. Sometimes you fall and bruise your knee. Sometimes you ride and feel like a bird in flight. Whatever you do every day, every night, keep your calm and keep the balance. With that, I welcome you to WinAction, the meeting point where seemingly little but persistent actions make great impacts. WinAction, a platform where you meet distinguished women in action. I am Rashida Adeyinka Hassan, and today I have the honor of ushering you into the presence of yet another champion. My guest today is a multitude packed in one. She's a daughter, a sister, wife, lover, mother, worker, a shining light in the community, and a pride of a nation. My guest, Dr. Nimotala Sadiq Omotesho, is a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist with special interest in medical education. She's a fellow Higher Education Academy. She's an honorary fellow University of Leicester. She's a mother, as I said. She's a citizen of the world. That's, I can confirm that. Passionate and committed to matters relating to women, young people, and justice. Please join me as I welcome to the WinAction studio my darling sister, Dr. Nimotala Omotesho. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum salam, my sister. How are you?
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you on the WinAction show. And I'm sure that a lot of the people that will be joining us, are excited to, because you're one of those people that are in the field of life that a lot of women actually, need, and that they actually can relate to in terms of experience. So I'm very happy. And it's so coincidental that, I always say this on this show, I bring women that, are around me and that are inspiring to me. I'm not sure if we've ever met one-on-one, but I've met you in different ways. I've met you through your sister. I've met you through your husband. So I've met you in different ways, except meet you one-on-one. And I'm so happy to have you on the
Thanks
show.
for having me.
Yeah, and I'm sure that a lot of us are going to be inspired, and we're going to learn a lot from your wealth of experience. I've introduced you,
inshallah.
But my introduction can never be enough until I ask you, if I've just met you and I say, who is Dr. Nimotala Omotesho?
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. It's an honor to be here, and like my sister, you introduced me. I'm passionate about affairs relating to women in various ways, health, social, education, various ways. I'll start with my source, and that is my dear parents. Is Alaja Khairat Uluwatoyin Sadiq and Alaji Abdulgiyaz Olukorede Sadiq. I have a lot to thank them for, not just for bringing me into the world, but for rearing me and making Islam our foundation and the basis of our choices for me and for the rest of my siblings. So that's me starting as a daughter. And then the next step for many people is the when you become your own self and you branch out, and that is as a wife and partner. So I have a depth of respect and love and appreciation to my dear husband, Mr. Kamil Motesho, for everything, and that is a lot. And of course, my dear children, Alhamdulillah, and also my dear sisters in Islam that Allah has blessed me with and who come from all over the world because of the beauty of Islam. So I started with me, and that's my source. I went to secondary school, Ferragamo Girls College, Akure, and from there I started my higher education in Unilag, just for a short while. But as Allah would have it, I was meant to go to the other end of Nigeria, as far as you can get from Lagos, actually, and that is University of Maiduguri.
Yeah, I said you are a world person. You are a citizen of the world.
Well, it looks like it, isn't it? You know how Allah has a plan for you sometimes, and you just roll with it, inshallah. So I did a degree in human anatomy first at University of Maiduguri, and then I went on to get my medical degree there as well. And from there, and while I was there, ironically, immediately after finishing my BSc in anatomy, that was when I got married. So actually, I had my first child as a medical student, which many would say is mad. Even my daughter herself wonders, what were you thinking? But like I said, when Allah has a plan for you, just roll with it.
You are a woman in action. So
well, I try. And then towards the end, right at the tail end, I had my second child. Again, a bit of a mad situation there, but alhamdulillah, Allah's plan, eventually when you look back and age enables you to do that a bit, sometimes you see how trusting in Allah, always letting Allah be a part of any decision you're making, eventually turns out to be the best. And some we don't even know yet. These are the little that we know in this world. And then I came over to the UK and eventually got into training for obstetrics and gynecology. And as you can imagine, with children and, here in a different country,
you are a very strong woman. You can be studying.
I'm not sure about that.
Children, and then you can do anything. I think. A lot of time we feel we are not strong, but man, you are a very strong woman. Go on.
Yes. All through, I have to say that when you seek help from Allah, and then Allah brings that help from directions you never thought. It brings help from those closest to you. It brings help from friends. It brings help from, the Islamic community around you, and even from sources that you never thought. That's why if you want to ask for help, ask Allah. And that's how I can say, because when I look back now, I wonder how it happened or how
you were able to do that. I would like to say something here, because I think a lot of time, part of what we should take away from shows like this when we watch it is for us to see how can we better our lots, and how can we be, better people, coming in contact with whatever it is that we come in contact with. And I think it's quite coincidental that the last episode of the WinAction that I had was with your sister. and she was an exceptional, inspirational woman. And the same way you are here now, and I think it says something, because when you were going to start talking, you were talking about your parents. So I think it says a lot about parenting. And that's something that I think personally I'm also taking away from this initial interaction with you, that it's very important that we be what we want our children to be. We start grooming them, because it's not so easy for the same parents to have children that are doing great in whatever it is that they have chosen. So I want to appeal to our sisters and everyone watching that it is very important for us to set the foot of our kids, in the right direction. And that, I just thought it was very important for me to make that point. Now, let's go straight to another thing. You you studied medicine, and then you went into obstetrics and gynecologist. Why that choice?
Well, I must say that the choice starts with what I saw happening to women around me.
Mm,
Though initially it was back home in Nigeria, but I see that it's an international thing.
mm,
Women have lots of challenges when it comes to health. And
yeah,
some is not as a result of bad health, some
mm,
is just simple physiology, pregnancy, for instance.
mm,
And even if it's not pregnancy, there are some natural things that happens to you as a woman that sometimes require healthcare input. And
mm,
I see that it can be really challenging for women to get the sort of supportive care that really
mm,
makes a difference.
mm,
And certainly, I have to say, for women in hijab, it is even more of a challenge
mm,
because even for, like I just said, a normal physiologic process like having a child,
mm,
or if you're trying to get pregnant, all the processes and investigations that lead to it involve a lot of intimacy loss and to some
mm,
degree loss of dignity.
mm,
In fact, lots of women, if I'm examining or seeing to them and they say, and I sort of apologize, I need to cover you a little bit, bear with me, things like that. And they say, oh, I've thrown dignity out the window. I said, well, we'd rather you didn't.
mm,
We want to try our best to maintain that for you as much as possible. So I must say that that sense of wanting to be the option for
mm,
women who would rather have another woman care for them, either for religious reasons or even just for personal reasons.
mm.
Yes, that's a driving force in
Yeah,
my
and I wanted to ask this because I know that growing up in Nigeria, as I did myself, there's always that question of, do we have enough Muslim women in the medical profession? So I think it was really a great, decision for you to go into medicine and to now specifically choose an area that is very, very personal to women. And my question is, how difficult was it for you to
well,
get, to get into medicine, and then for you to stay in it and be able to practice? How difficult was it?
I have to say, because you might notice when you were talking, I was already nodding,
Mm,
that getting into medicine, yes, a driving force was. If it was Allah's will that I serve him in that field, then may so be it.
mm,
And I use that as my intention, and I try to remind myself of that because just to get a medical degree at all is very challenging.
exactly.
Now, I had Obsangani in mind right from the start for the reasons I just explained. However, getting not just getting into it, but staying within the training and even the practice of it.
Mm,
Many people say it as if it's just, oh, we need our women to get into it, but it takes a lot for the
mm,
person involved and for their family, and that's why I had to acknowledge my family uniquely. My primary nuclear family, to be specific, or even my wider family, because it does rub off on them. It
mm,
has an impact on them. In fact, luckily here in the UK, at a point, the training, it wasn't just possible for me to continue it full time. It
mm,
was just not possible if I wanted to do anything right.
mm,
And for many women who work at all, we know that guilt comes in a lot because
mm.
here you're trying to do something, whatever it is, whatever
I
work
can
it is
relate with
you're
that.
doing. And as women, we have very high standards for ourselves, want to do everything absolutely perfect. So when it now comes to medicine, which is demanding in itself, that's the nature of the beast, you know, that is even there in a greater way. And if you don't have a supportive partner, and I start with that because this is the first person that is uniquely affected by the studies,
Whatever you're doing.
by the training, even by the work that you do, then it's even more difficult. And of course, you have to mention any children or young people that are in your care or that you have responsibility for, because you try your best because we can't get carried away and lose sight of that important role. But still, you have to now look for other ways and be very creative in being there as the mother you want to be and you're meant to be, and whatever role you need to play in their lives, as well as doing your work well. So there was an option for training less than full time, which I jumped at. Of course, it made the training even longer, you know, and that's not an easy thing to do because here you are toddling along gradually and you have younger colleagues around you just whizzing past and finishing and all that. But you know what you're doing, you have your goal in mind, and that just enables you to maybe catch your breath and do things right with your home so that you don't forget your home and just, oh, they should understand or they need to understand. No, you need to consider them as well in certain decisions. And of course, a rethink of life in general. So now that you've got a demanding job, you've got a family, and those are your primary focus. Exactly. You might now need to compromise on some social things and maybe not go to certain things, but that so be it. It's about getting those priorities absolutely right.
But can I ask
I
you?
always say when people say, "Oh,"
go on, please.
Go on.
Say that point.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that when people say, "Oh, we need sisters in obs and gynae, we need sisters in medicine," it's not that simple. And when people say it, let us know that even as a community, it really helps if you can support that person one way or the other, because I can say that I had support from my sisters and brothers around me here that helped.
Yeah. Are we actually doing enough as a community to encourage women into this kind of profession? What's in your opinion? You're someone who is doing it already. Are we doing enough?
We're not. And I say that as a community as a whole, it's across all cultures. In my work, I come across people who come, and here you can actually ask for a woman, but okay, good luck if you find a woman. And these might be the same communities that will be the ones either not wanting their girls to go to university at all, or if they do go, I know of someone who advised his younger sister not to go into medicine because he has seen what it cost a friend that the wife was a doctor. And, he just thinks, that's a bit much. So while we're wanting things, let us know that to support it, it needs a lot of sacrifice. Let us remember the immediate people around that woman, and of course, even as a community.
Yeah, and then there's something that people usually say to me. They said people who want to study medicine must be effico, as we usually call it. People would love to read books, and you love reading books, don't you?
I do actually. Words are my other passion, I must say.
Okay.
But it's not about being ethical per se. I think even especially in Nigeria, but even here, there are lots we can do to support people who could potentially study medicine just to assist them. Because as you know, now we know there are some learning difficulties some people experience, or even dyslexia, that in communities where that is not appreciated, they'll be regarded as olodo, or not something. Whereas maybe all that person needed was the support you would give somebody with that sort of challenge, and they'd be fine. So I think there's still a bit to do, but yes, it does involve quite a lot of brain work and higher academic, some degree of, academic interest, and it can be a lot.
Yeah,
So
I would want us to now talk a bit more about your profession and how you relate with women and the kind of issues that women have around, the kind of profession you're doing. But I'll just go for a very short break, and then we'll come back and then we'll talk about, the way the kind of issues you come across practicing as an obstetrician as well as a gynecologist. I'll take a break.
no problem.
Yeah, thank you. So I know that the profession, obstetrician and then a gynecologist, a lot of time the issue is about women. But I'm one of those people who think that it's not just always about women, because I've heard when you talk about the issue of childbirth, getting pregnant, having issues around giving birth and all that, people think it's all about women. It should be a woman issue. What has your experience been? What has it been working, within that field?
I will say you're right. Though largely the woman is the central person and our focus a lot of times, but we can't forget the men either. And in across, because it's a quite diverse field, it touches on quite a lot of aspects. It starts from even from a young girl, it does cover that to some degree, to an elderly woman with menopause problems and stuff like that, and of course the obstetrics part, which has to do with pregnancy. All the while you do have contact with the partners, the sons, the fathers sometimes, and it's important not to forget them. For instance, if we talk about things like fertility, because that's one of the ways that we come into contact with men, is it's a joint thing. A lot of times culturally the woman tends to be maybe the only person people feel needs checking or attending to, but actually the man does as well. And if there are challenges along those lines, there's a particular way it affects the men that you can't ignore, and you have to take that on board. Also, things like in an emergency, for instance, maybe an obstetric emergency, many people think, oh, the woman is the one going through all the pain, what's he got to worry about? But actually, it's one of the most devastating things for a man to see, his partner, especially in an emergency. Even in labor alone is very humbling for most men. Not to talk of if there's actually something that's threatening her life. And they whiz her off to sort her out. And he's just there, waiting to hear and almost dying inside. So, one does need to remember. I mean, things like miscarriage, yes, it's devastating for the woman involved, but actually, even the men, and what tends to happen is he's left trying to comfort her, comfort himself, deal with the grief. And societal demands or expectations of the man is to be strong and not crumble and all that, and that does something to man as well. So yes, or if there's unfortunately a loss, loss of a child or a baby, both parents are affected. But yes, the woman tends to be the main person, but we try our best to
carry the men along. Yeah, but I want to ask this. A lot of time when there is we have a couple who are unable to have children for whatever reasons, they are unable to have children. Nowadays, I hear talks about different kinds of option that people have to tackle this problem. How much of it does people within our Muslim communities now actually adopt? How much of it, which kind of advice or options are there for them? And how much of it do they take on in your experience?
Well, the thing is, when it gets that intricate and complicated. We do let those who are specialists in fertility specifically deal with them. But the options for Muslims specifically, the options out there, some Muslims might have some challenges adopting them or taking them on board. Because if there's an option where it's someone else's sperm or someone else's egg, which are there, it might be something that maybe as a Muslim you might need to go back and get your fiqh, clarified with someone who is not only learned in Islam but also open-minded and able to see things beyond, maybe what they're used to seeing culturally or based on their background. So it does make things a bit more challenging if you are in that sort of situation and you don't have a Muslim to sort of help you see that. Is this okay? Because I get that quite a bit. I was told this and this and this, but is it Islamic? Or some sort of, I'm glad it's you, because I wasn't quite sure how much of this is Islamic. So that is there. And there are some options that one might need clarification with scholars, but people with a bit of medical input in it as well, so that we can get things right.
Yeah, that I have to ask that question because a lot of time as we talk about the need for Muslim women in the medical profession, these are some of the reasons that people would put forward that we actually need to have more women, and especially more Muslims who can understand where you're coming from, where you have to ask some of these questions. Now, WinAction is about you. It's about learning those things about you that can help to inspire others. So I'm going to take a very short break to lead us to the Peg Your Achievement segment of the show. And the Peg Your Achievement segment is about the pain, the empowerment, and the gains that you have, you have as a woman who has been doing all this, getting into this very, very, if not difficult to get to a profession for a woman. So I'll take a break and then we'll be back for that. Yes. So for the members of the audience, the participants that are joining, you're going to have the opportunity to ask Dr. Omotesho questions, maybe towards the end of the show. All you just need to do is either to put your question in the Q&A box, or you can raise your hand and I'll allow you to ask your question. I might not be able to take so many questions, but I'll be very grateful if you raise your hand or you type your questions in the Q&A. So we are now in the most interesting part of this show for me, because this is the part that I actually want every woman to pay attention to, because if you look at the things that we talk about, you can actually identify it in your own lives. So let's start with your pain. Usually I need just either one word or a phrase, but I don't want anything to elaborate. So if you were to sit back and look at your lives, your personal, professional, and everything, what would you say is the most painful experience that you've had, as a person? I'll just like to write it down on my board whilst you say it. So let's start your pain. What is your pain? What would you say is the most painful experience that you've had?
I think my pain, I would have to say, is combining it all. You made me think there because you want a phrase or a word, so I had to quickly think of a way to
phrase it. Yeah. Are you a word mill like your sister? So I will expect the words to start reeling out. So yeah.
So yes, I would say my pain is combining it all.
Combining it all. Okay, that's good. Then the next one. What would you say is your empowerment? What drives you?
What drives me, I'll have to say, is serving Allah.
Serving Allah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I missed out something here. I'm supposed to have a B, a P. Yeah, the E. Serving Allah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to discuss all that. And what is the gain?
The gain is against all odds.
Against?
Against all odds.
Against all odds, right?
Yes.
Now, let's take this one after the other, because my participant and everyone watching us either on Facebook or YouTube would like to. So when you say combining it all, what do you mean? And how is that a pain for you?
Yes. I think by nature, I like to do things as best as I can, especially things that I'm supposed to do for others. So either as a daughter, as a wife, as a mother, as a friend, as a sister, and even as a doctor, combining it all, I must say, has been challenging. Because despite all this being there, you still have the normal life challenges of, family issues or health issues or, things like that. So being able to keep it all together is challenging, but I think the reason is a pain is I have had to change my thought process and my mindset. That it doesn't have to be perfect. It can't all be perfect.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. It
and a lot of times it's something I find needing to tell us women that, let's just go easy on ourselves a little bit. If the dishes aren't done overnight, it's not the end of the world. Maybe it's not the ideal thing, but life really doesn't end. And if you're not the one doing the shopping and someone kindly offers to do it for you, don't say because, they'll get the wrong plum tomato tin, and then you say, I'll just do it myself. Let's take it easy on ourselves so that we can actually combine it all with less pain.
I like that. Combining it whole with less pain. That's good. Now, serving Allah, I think that's very self-explanatory, but even then, I'll still like you to say something about that. Yes. What do you mean?
What I mean is that all through, I have had situations or instances where you just feel, I'm not quite sure I can carry on like this, or what am I really doing? Or, it's just pause moments. Some are big pauses where you just really think, or some you really, really just need something to pull you back up and get you going, carrying on. And the fact that it is Allah I am serving with my life and with whatever I'm doing, that just gives me the oomph to carry on. And also is the source of, the drive or whatever it is I need to keep going. And that is exactly how I put it to Allah, that, yeah, Allah, I'm not quite sure, but that will be done. This is for you, even if it's just simply cleaning my house or, taking care of the children or something. There are times when it does get a bit, much. And it is the fact that I redo my intention that I am serving you with this, and that empowers me, I have to say.
Wow. Now, the last one, gain, said against all odds. I would definitely want you to explain that.
Yes. So that there are some unique things in my life that I have to say that to be where I am today has been against a lot of odds, a lot. Right from when I was a child, I had some particular health challenges that, affected my mobility for a bit. And then I got into school, and initially the drive towards studying medicine was right from the start. But when I got to Unilag, I wasn't doing it there. While I was there, I redid the exam and got into my degree. But even then, I did anatomy instead first. And then just when I thought, okay, maybe Allah has a different plan for me, the admission for medicine came through. Just when I thought,
when you were about giving up.
Yeah. So that's there. And then, studying that far from home was rife with lots of challenges. And,
Can
you know,
imagine.
those were great odds for me. And
Mm.
then finishing that, it wasn't straight away I was able to get the medicine. So it wasn't, for me, it wasn't a straight road that maybe most people have. It was a very tortuous road for me.
Mm.
Lots of bends and turns and corners. Those are the odds. And
Those were the
even,
odds. And
yes,
everybody have
so
hearts. I'm sure a lot of the people watching us now are just thinking to
exactly.
themselves, wow, I
Wow.
have this in front of me.
Yeah.
I've been feeling so depressed. And what Dr. Nimatullah Ometesho is saying to you is that against all odds, if you find a way of combining it all and you make your motivation Allah, then you would achieve it against all odds. And I just love the way you've pegged your achievements. And that's what's going to lead me to, asking people to ask their questions now. And possibly, if anybody wants, you can put your question in the quick Q&A, or you can also raise your hands to ask your question, and I would allow you. But while we're waiting for people to either raise their hands or put their questions in the Q&A, I would like to say, if you are watching this show, maybe you're watching it on Facebook or on YouTube, please kindly like, kindly share, and kindly subscribe to our channel, because we need this to reach a whole lot more people. We want to inspire people, and we want to inspire them to take action. Yes, it says women in action, but we've all got women in our lives. So we are passionate about women. We want women to achieve and all that, but you can also learn from it, regardless of whether you are a woman or not. So there is a lot we can take from this show. And that is why I appeal to you, share, and subscribe to the channel. I've got a hands up, and I'm going to take that question. I'll ask Sister Zainab to unmute herself and ask her question or make contribution.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Wa alaikum salam. Hello, sister.
So I know Sister Nitma because we live in Leicester.
Okay.
So family Sister Nitma.
Yeah.
My question was when she mentioned about combining it all, and one of the things she said is that it can't all be perfect. So I'm kind of in a similar situation now. I'm training in radiology as a doctor, and I think about combining it all. But when you say it can't be perfect, which one do we? Is like, do we have to sacrifice one or over the other? Which one do we have to prioritize one and say, okay, well, raising my child is more important, or my career being the best in that is more important? Like, how do we prioritize? Is my question, I guess.
Well, assalamu alaikum, that's Zainab. So regarding that, when I say it can't all be perfect, I don't mean that we don't give our best. And I don't mean that you lose your dreams. And also the profession is such that the demands on you continue. You finish the training, become a consultant, you still have to keep doing stuff to keep building. So it doesn't end. That isn't meant to discourage people out there. It's just the nature of it. So it might just mean, though, that one, you might need to face one thing at a time. If you've got young children, you might really not have enough of you to split into more ways than your family and your work, especially if you want to do it right. If you have young children, there's only a certain time they're that age. If you compromise it, it's gone. And also, if you want to have a larger family, you're not done yet. So that bit might just be all you're able to do for now to do it right. And even with that, my mantra to most people these days is look after yourselves, sisters. Please remember to look after yourselves. A lot of times we run around so much and we burn out, or we become really, really tired. And then we can't give our best to anything and we become cranky and all that. So combining it all, you might just need to go in phases. For now, combining work with children is a lot on anybody. And if you're still training, you've got exams and all that, you might just find that all you're physically able to maintain is you and the family for now. But don't lose your dreams. Have them there. They might be in the back burner for now, and you might then be able to pick it up as it goes. Or for instance, some people, I know someone who, because she really wanted to play a large role in being the parent for her daughters, she worked less than full time and even 50% at that, which is half. So she knew from the start that she's going to double her training time. And she really went with it, with being there for her children. She was even student governor. She really wanted to do that. She participated in bake sales and things like that, because that's what she wanted. And she was happy with that. And then you pick things up as they go. So I hope that answers the question to some degree.
Yeah, and I guess, as you said, it's always about, looking at what are the priorities at this point, what is more important. And like you said, we as women, we've got different, we wear different caps, or should I say we wear different hijabs at different times. So yeah, whatever it is, I pray that you get your inspiration and you get your motivation to, pick the best option for you and your family and your loved ones and people around you, at the right time. I don't know if there is a comment in the chat. Okay, it's just Jazakumullah khairan for the answer. So that's from Sister Zainab to you. Alhamdulillah. I don't know if there are any more questions. If there is anybody wanting to ask a question, I can take at least one more question before we go. And you can either put it on the chat or you can have your hand raised, and inshallah I'll call you. Now, as we're doing that, I'll quickly do some rundown of advertisements. If you're watching the show, we have a lot of things in Deen for Real for you. So there is a program we call ACOCA. Now, ACOCA is an intervention that we have developed to help our children, particularly the Yoruba-speaking members of the community, to bring our children on board of language, because we don't want children that have lost their identity. And language is also part of your identity, and you can never go wrong to be someone who is multilingual. So if you're speaking good English, all good for you. And even if you're not Yoruba, you can actually take that up as another skill to add to yourself at this point in time. So ACOCA is something that we are actually promoting. And if you want more information on that, just go to deenforreal.com. Deen for Real. Deen is DEEN, then let the number 4 and real, REEL.com. So if you go to deenforreal.com, you get additional information on how to be part of ACOCA. And of course, there is another very interesting show that I am part of, and I'm going to be saying, Sister Dr. Nimatullah, I'm going to want you on that show at one point to actually talk more on the issues that women have around, obstetric as well as, gynecology issue that people have, and that is the Women Building Communities show. And that show, what we do is we look at issues that affect women, and we try to discuss them in a very relaxed and very intense atmosphere. And we're going to have another episode of that next week Saturday at 10 a.m. Next week Saturday 10 a.m. Watch out for it. We'll put out the information out there, and you'll have the opportunity to also join and in the discussion. And if there is anything you want at all for us to discuss in relation to how women can better our lot, just contact us, inbox us, and you'll be able to get that. And also, I would like to tell you about FAR's event. It is an e-event platform. What we do here, it's been run by my very darling sister, Falilat Alabi. So if you want to organize your event, now we've been told in the UK, there can be more than 6 people at any particular gathering. So this time we've got this online platform, and we've got people who are very, 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 very good at organizing online event and whatever it is that you're planning to have, because we still need to keep in touch, contact Fire's events, and yes, you'll be able to help you with that. And I think with that, that is me done with all my personal unpaid announcement because it's not paid, personal unpaid announcement. So just before I go, I would like you, Sister Dr. Nima, to just in very few words, what would you want people, aside from everything we've talked about, to go away with on the show today?
What I'll say about that is it speaks to women, but not just women. And that is, let us remember ourselves and let us appreciate ourselves. There's a lot Allah has inbuilt in us as women. And a lot of times we don't even realize it. And unfortunately, a lot of times, many people around us minimize it for us or go out of their way to make sure that we don't get it. We need to get it ourselves. Let us know our value, and then let us be the best we can be. This isn't about certificates or, big letters in front of you or anything. It's about what you as a human being can achieve in your growth as a human being, but also what Allah has put in you to offer to all those around you. Your immediate family, anybody we get into contact with as women, we have a role. It doesn't even have to do with education. It's just who we are inherently. So let us know our value. Let us give our best, and please let us take care of ourselves.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. And I want to thank everyone for joining the Women in Action show today. Those who have joined on Zoom as participants, thank you very much. I really appreciate your being part of the show. And for those who are watching either on Facebook or on YouTube, remember, subscribe to our channel, share with your family and friends. And remember that it's going to be another episode soon. Unfortunately, we had to have a very long break after the last time I had my darling sister, Sumaya, on this show, but inshallah, I promise you it's not going to be that way now. And then just before we go, there is something I took away from all what my sister has said, and that is something that I would like to say to every one of us that are watching this show. I know it's not easy to combine it all, and it gives a lot of pain to combine it all. But remember what my sister has said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to, everything does not have to be perfect, but don't you lose your dream, and know that, well, you need to, combine everything, but combining everything does not mean perfection. Also, look for that motivation. She had said our own motivation is Allah, serving Allah. So it can be serving Allah, it can be serving God if you're not a Muslim, it can be whatever it is that you serve, but look for that motivation that would make it easy for you to realize that, yeah, I need to combine it all, but it doesn't have to be perfect, because there is a reason why I'm doing it. And let me tell you, the assurance cannot be more than what my sister said. Against all odds, you would achieve. Against all odds, you would achieve. Just what you need to do is to be consistent, to be inspired, and that is why we have the Women in Action show as, just our own little contribution towards inspiring you, towards making you take those small actions that would make whatever you are doing, that will make it to come together. And that will make it easy for you to combine everything, even when it seems like you have a whole lot to do. So until next time, when I come your way with yet another very inspiring, beautiful, inspirational woman that is doing everything within our power to impact our community positively and impact ourselves as an individual, to stay inspired, and please take an action today about that thing you're thinking about. So until we see you next time, Sister Nemo, I thank you very much. I thank my brother for allowing you to be with me. You know, I said it to you. I said I call him daddy, even if he doesn't want to, because he's somebody that I found really, really, really inspirational. And so I'm so happy that, you know, we've got this combination of you two within our community. So I'll see you, and I hope to talk with you, you know, after this program. Yeah. So assalamu alaikum, everyone. Take care, everyone. Even if you're not a Muslim, do have peace in your life and take some action now.